Hi everyone, welcome back to the class. Today we will be creating an animation loop. There's nothing for you guys to download it, so just open up the After Effects and we can get started. So first thing first, let's go ahead and create a composition. We'll call this loop animation. We'll keep it to 1280 by 720 as usual. Set the frame rate to be 30. Duration 10 seconds and click OK. Then we'll go ahead and create layer, new, solid. We'll choose different color, could be anything. I'll choose something that's more pastel tone. I'll make sure the zoom is set to fit so it's easier for us to see it. And I'll lock this layer. Let's go ahead, click and hold, select ellipse tool from the shape tool. Click on the stroke option, say none. Click on the fill option, solid color, and we'll choose white. And we'll double click on the shape tool. This will create an ellipse that touches both left, right, top, and the bottom. We'll go ahead and open up the ellipse path and uncheck the size. There is the constraint, uncheck it. We'll go with 300 by 300. Actually, you know what? That would be a little bit too tiny. So let's go 400 by 400. I think that's good. Let's go ahead and right click. Rename this one. Circle out. Let's duplicate it. I'm using Windows, so Control D for me. If you're using Mac, it's going to be Command D. And rename that to Circle N. Circle N, we'll go ahead and change the color to be black. Circle N is going to be the animation for the inside, and of course circle out will be the animation for the outside. Before we even do anything, let's set up a guideline that can separate this here, so we can actually, it's easier to move it and manually over. Let's deselect using the pen tool. If you want, you can also toggle transparent grid, or you can also toggle on proportional grid. With the proportional grid on for me, let's click, shift click, so we can create a solid linear line, straight line, and I'll go ahead and turn it off. And I'll go ahead and for the stroke, go to the fill. I'll say no fill. For the stroke, I'll choose white, and then I'll say 1. So now that became a really nice thin line that we can actually use it as for the guide. Once you're done, always come to the selection tool, right click on this, we'll rename it to be a guideline again, and then we'll lock this one for now. We're going to use this guideline as for us to animate this too. What we're going to animate is we're basically going to send this one to the side. So we want the black part to be inside and white parts to be outside. Next, let's first hide the circle in. Go to the circle out. We're gonna use the pen tool delete vertex tool. But if you're going to use this one right away, it's not going to work because it's a shape layer. We want to convert it into a path layer 100%. So let's open up the circle out. Let's open up the ellipse one, go to the path one, and open this one up. So we have all these for this one. Right click on top of where it says path one. There's going to be different options. So a bit here, group shape, ungroup shapes. We should be able to select convert to Bezier path. I already right click and selected it. So now what we can do is using the delete vertex tool, you can go here, click, and you should be able to delete those paths. Then what we can do is using the convert vertex tool, if you click, single click on it, everything will change. So what we need to do, let me undo it. From here, what we need to do is we need to convert this one. So let's go pen tool, or let's go with the selection tool. Click on the path, select just the one of the points, you will have an anchor. For the window, you can hold down control. For the Mac, you can hold down command, and you can do this. You can just simply click and drag it in. Make sure you're not changing this point like how I was doing. If that's happening, you can just go ahead and simply go back and fix it up. This one too. Simply put this in, so everything will be straight. And this one, oops, there you go. Click on path, click on the point, and then fix that one up. There you go. So now we have a half circle. Let's go ahead and turn on circle end. For the circle end, we want to make sure as this one moves, we want this to change the size of it. And as it changes the size, we want this to work along with the circle out. Let's close the circle out first. Let's go to the circle in, context, ellipse 1, ellipse path for the circle in. Let's go to the 1 second, keyframe the size, first one is going to be the X, second one is going to be Y, which is top and the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0 for the X, come to 2 seconds, put that back to 400, go to 3 seconds, let's put that to 150. So it kind of looks like this. And this is something that we're going to hook it to the null object at the same time, so that once the null object moves, everything moves together. So let's go ahead and click onto layer, new, null object. We'll rename this one to position control. And then we'll put this one underneath the guideline. And we want to make sure we have the parent and link turned on. So make sure on the bottom left hand corner, these two blue icons are checked. For the circle in and out, I'm going to click and parent it, click and parent it. Actually, not to the guideline, to the position control. Oopsie. To the position control. Circle in is the only thing that has the keyframe, so we'll hit U on your keyboard. That's going to bring out this keyframe. Now from 0, go to the position, Control and P to bring out the position. Let's click on to this stopwatch next to the position. Since the center of this position is right here, let's go to the 2 seconds where there is a keyframe here. Hold down the shift, click and drag the new object, place it right there. So it actually looks like this. And as it gets smaller, move to the next keyframe here. Then we'll push this one in, making it look like this. Alright, and as this one moves, we want to make sure this goes the other way around. But right now we want to make sure it looks like we're visually tricking it to make it look like it's opening up. And that's where we want to stop it so that we can move on to the next step. And as this one moves, we kind of want to change the scale as well. So go to there's a couple ways we can do, but the simplest would be control this one. What I mean by controlling circle in, is as this one ends over here, we can actually get rid of this and then change the size. Let me show you. From here, we already know circle in covers up the circle out. So what we're going to do is you can just simply click and drag and make the circle out end of its working frame. You can ultimately do Alt right bracket on the window. For the Mac, it's going to be Command right bracket, or you can say Option right bracket if the command doesn't work. I'm using the window key, so it's a little bit confusing for the Mac users. So once I do that, this loses the circle out. So just using the circle in, now starting from here, I can snap and go to the next keyframe. And you know what? Let's actually make it smaller. So we can say height to be 200. Since I knock it down to be half, let's say 75. And then as we do that, we can bring this one closer to where it was. Looks like this. Obviously, we're not going to see that as much because we're going to pre-comp and move everything. So this, and this, shift select all, right click, pre-compose, and we'll rename it as Loop Circle 01. So we have this one, Loop Circle right there. If I Command D to duplicate it, bring it over here, you can just click and drag and move it. Let's put this one at the 1 second, duplicate once more. Let's make so that the start of it becomes at 2 seconds, and then we can end it as we go. Alright, let's see. Cool. Now we can even make it look like this one starts as a flat. Or what we can even do is we can just make this one. Oh, by the way, we can finally hide the guideline, so we can get rid of that. So now we can make it look like it's doing this kind of the loop. Pretty cool, right? What we can even do is, since we have 3, shift select that, right click, pre-compose once more. we'll say left circle group, and onto this one we can go to the effects and preset, motion tile, double click. We can try the motion tile or mirror. Let's try the motion tile and let's see what's the difference between those two. Motion tile, let's go ahead and increase the width or decrease the width. Let's say output width here and there. But we don't really see much of the change unless we do this, right? But here comes the problem with the motion tile. This end of the work area refers to the size of the comp. That can be right for us. Yes, we can multiply so many times. I mean, we are, but that's not really going to how it works. So let's go ahead and hide the motion tile. Let's try mirror this time. Double click. Again, we don't really see anything unless we do some changes over here. Okay, there you go. Now we start to see it. Notice how this circle moves? I'm not really physically moving it because we want this y-axis. I'll put it at just at the center like that. You can just click and drag. Again, you can click and drag and you have the blue number, and I can adjust it to be 0 once more, and now we have a perfectly symmetrical circle like this. If you don't want this gap, you can just move this one, double click, and you can move everything inside from here, and that gap is gone. So now let's take a look. And 4 seconds can be our end of the work time. So I'll hit N on your keyboard and spacebar. There you go. Nice, now you have a nice loop animation there. Alright, if you have up until here, you guys can go ahead and render this file. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach me out, and I'll see you guys in the next class. Take care.